Hello, everybody. I'm a little early, so I just thought I would get on, be prepared. It's pouring rain here in Kentucky, as you can tell by my hair, but I'm excited to share with you in a little while about royal icing transfers. I love royal icing transfers. I think they make cookie decorating so much easier. So, if you are on, I know a few people are on, tell me where you are watching from because I always love to hear that. I'm in Versailles, Kentucky, and I actually just got back from picking up baby chicks in Cincinnati, Ohio. Not for me, but for my neighbors. So I'll get to thoroughly enjoy them. They're so cute. Um, but I've been decorating cookies for over a decade. I am a artist. I started painting and then decided to paint with edible paint because it's more fun, when you can eat your art medium. So I transitioned from that to cookies, and I just love it. Hi, Kelly from Canton, Ohio. Is Canton near Cincinnati, Kelly? Because I was in Cincinnati today picking up the cutest, most precious little day old chicks. They were precious. Hi, Evelyn from Columbia, Pennsylvania. Hey, Brandy from Louisiana. Thank you all for joining tonight. I got on a little early, so we won't get started for another minute, but I'm going to be talking all about royal icing transfers. Excuse me, because I love royal icing transfers. If you all, oh, Kelly, it's 3 hours away. If you all have ever gotten one of my cookie cutter subscription boxes, or even some of my classes and cookie cutter sets, often I will include royal icing transfers because they are fun. They use up leftover icing. You can save them for forever. I mean, for a year at least. And I just think that they can add so many cute details to a cookie. And it was really interesting because someone told me recently that they felt like royal icing transfers were really, really hard. And I thought, well, I better talk about that then. Hello, Kathleen from Rhode Island. I'm in Kentucky. I live in Versailles, Kentucky. It's right outside of Lexington. I live in horse country. So I don't have any horses, but I have chickens, dogs, cats. I mean, I have them all. Hey, Terry. I'm so glad you joined. Terry, are you driving yet? The school bus, has school started where you live? I don't know if you do that year round or not, but um, we'll wait another minute. Just a little bit about me in case you don't know me. I started decorating cookies over a decade. I was an artist and then I transitioned to cookies because I just thought it looked like fun. But honestly, the reason I stuck at it was our oldest son had really struggled in school, and that is just putting it mildly. He has dyslexia. Now he's doing fantastic. He's getting ready to start his senior year of college, but when he was young, it was very, very, very tough. And honestly, I was very depressed. And I'm happy all the time, but I didn't know how to help him. And he was sad. And so I was sad. And I really needed something to focus my time and energy on. And hey, Melissa. And I found for me that was cookies. It let me get out of my head. It let me do something fun and creative. And it let me do something that was going to bring joy to other people. And so I became addicted to decorating cookies. And then all kinds of amazing things have come my way because of decorating cookies. So I decided that I wanted to teach other people to decorate cookies too. So that's why I now have the subscription box, because I want you all to be able to decorate cookies and do amazing things in your life. Because I mean, if it could happen to me, I mean, I've been in magazines, I've been on the Food Network, I've been on I can, I mean, this is not about, what has Lauren done, but it's just my point that if it can happen to me, a mom lives in a teeny tiny little small town in Kentucky, then it can happen to you. So are y'all ready to get started? Let's talk about royal icing transfers. And if you're watching this on a replay, Thank you. For those of you that just received the email 45 minutes ago, I would have sent that this morning, but I woke up to the computer screen of death. Y'all know what that is? When your computer does not work and there's a message across your screen that's not good. I don't remember what it said, but it would not work. And I was panicking. And thankfully, my husband is really wonderful. So he fixed it while I was in Cincinnati picking up these little baby chicks. So that's why the late email. I had no computer this morning. So, what is a royal icing transfer? Here's an example. Royal icing transfer is a little piece of icing. These are royal icing transfers. Basically, it's a little piece of candy. And if you ever go to Michael's and you want to buy the little pieces of icing, basically, that you can put on top of cookies or cupcakes, and they're like $15 for 6 of them or something crazy like that. It's the same thing, only you're making it and they are way less expensive. So I put royal icing transfers in most of my cookie kits just because it's a really easy and fun way to add that extra umph. So I'm going to talk about first why royal icing transfers. And as we go, if you have questions, put them in. Or maybe let's wait until the end to ask all the questions, unless you just have some burning question, then you can ask it. But royal icing transfers are good because you can make them in bulk, right? You can sit and you can make a whole bunch of them while you're watching TV. That's normally what I do, or listening to your favorite crime podcasts because, us cookie decorators, we love crime podcasts, don't we? But you can do them in bulk. Another reason is you don't have to have a projector. Um, I love my projector, and I don't know if I could decorate cookies without it. But if you don't have one, royal icing transfers are great because you don't have to have a projector in order to do it. Um, they have long storage. You can make them and you can put them in an airtight container and they'll last, I mean, at least a year. Excuse me. I've been sick. I've had COVID. I'm finally better, but my voice isn't quite where it should be. Um, so they'll last a long time. You also can make them out of leftover icing. I mean, hey, Marlene from Michigan and Jackie from Ohio. I was in Ohio today in Cincinnati. But raise your hand at home if you finish an order and you have leftover icing. Everybody does, always, because it's hard to determine exactly how much icing you need. So instead of throwing that icing away, I mean, you can freeze it, but make some royal icing transfers. Then you'll have them on hand when you want to add that cute little detail to a cookie. Um, also, excuse me, hopefully I will be able to talk through this. Maybe I need to talk quieter. Hold on, I'm gonna text my husband and see if he'll bring me some water. 1 second. Can you please bring me water? Okay. He's a nice guy. I'm sure he will. Yes, if you have multiple colors, left over, you can definitely use those to make transfers. Also, if you teach cookie decorating classes, transfers are great because you can make that little detail that it would be hard for a beginner to make. Let's use this as an example. This would be a really cute class cookie because this is a wet on wet, which is not a difficult thing for a new decorator to do. This would be really cute. This one would be trickier, right? Because we all know that writing on cookies is not the most fun thing, right? But you could make these as royal icing transfers and show them how to do the background with you could take your stencil and your airbrush, or they could do this as a wet on wet like this one. And then you could just give them the letters. So it really is great to be able to use them if you're doing classes. Now, what do you need? I'm up here doing a class. Yeah, please. No, just my throat is just water, please. Okay, here comes my husband. Um, Now, what do I use for royal icing transfers? And I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. We're going to watch a little video of a royal icing transfer. In fact, should let me think if we should look at that now. Let's watch that now while he brings me the water and I can rest my voice for a second. And then I'm so sorry. We'll do this we'll talk about the other stuff after the video. Excuse me. You know, I work at home by myself, so I don't talk this much. I didn't realize that this was going to be an issue for my voice. But we're going to watch the little snippet of thank you. Oh, thank you. Look, he even put a little fun straw in it. Thank you. Mm-mm. Thank you. Okay. This we are going to watch the little snippet of doing the royal icing transfer for my last cheerful box. And then we'll talk about some other things after it's over. We're going to use our royal icing transfer sheet to do the moo letters. So I'm using my transfer sheet that you received as a download. You just print it off. Then I like to use parchment paper over top. I use little parchment squares. Next, this is piping consistency icing. I just do this exactly like if I were doing a cookie. Next, I'm going to flood it. Then you can either put your royal icing transfers in a dehydrator if you have one. I'll usually put mine on about usually 110 degrees until they're really good and dry. Or you can sit them out on your counter or in your oven turned off for several days. Just make sure no one turns your oven on. Don't forget that it's in there. If I'm not putting them in the dehydrator, I will put this sheet on top of a cookie sheet because you really don't want to move it very much. You'll crack the letters. So again, I'm going over top of this with my piping icing, and then I'm going to flood it. Parchment sheets work the best because they dry the quickest. So that's really what I like to use. Now, you'll notice when I'm doing this, I make two O's and they're not exactly the same. But again, don't stress about that because it's a cookie. Nobody's going to notice that. And I love royal icing transfers because you can just make a bunch of them and then save them. And they'll last for like a year. Just put them in an an airtight container. And I just love royal icing transfers. They make decorating so much faster because you can make them ahead of time. Now, when they're dry, they'll come off the paper really easily. And I'm just using piping icing and I'm going to put it on the cookie. And I think that this one is such a cute cookie paired with the cow. And now that cute cookie is finished. Okay, so I have drunk some water, had some water. Maybe I can talk. But aren't those cute together? So I talked about in the video, hey, Jill, it's fine. You can watch the replay of this too. I talked about in the video that I like using parchment sheets, parchment squares. But let me tell you the different things that you can do okay, I'll do a live on airbrushing. I'll do that without a doubt, maybe next week. You can use all kinds of different things underneath your royal icing transfer sheet. Now, This is the Royal Icing transfer sheet that I used a moment ago that comes with this month's box. And it's a download. I just printed it on my printer. And there are a couple different things that you can use. One is this clear container right here, which I'm going to show you in just 1 second. And then the other is these Zenlogy parchment squares. So if you go to Amazon and put in, well, you know what? Maybe I can give you all the link. Let's see. I think I can. Wow, that's a long one. That is the link to the Amazon parchment squares. I love these because they are small and they dry really, really fast. So usually I can, make 6 to 8 Royal Icing transfers on one of these little squares. They don't take up a lot of room, but they dry so much faster. And one reason I really like these is they come in this container and they are completely flat. And that is important because if you try to use parchment paper that you pull off of a roll, it's curved and your icing transfers will not dry flat. So I only use these little parchment squares. If you want to use regular parchment paper, you can certainly do that. What I suggest is to put it on a cookie sheet. What you would do is you would put this on a cookie sheet. You would put the parchment paper on top of it, and then you would tape down the sides. And you would not take the parchment paper off until your transfers were completely dry. But I prefer these little Zenlogy sheets. Now, another thing that is wonderful, let me show you this other thing because I think you can, I think you can see it a little bit better here. So let me show you right here. I love these things. Whoops. Okay. This is from Clear Bags, and I'll put the link. I did put it on cardstock, Terry. I did. You could put it on regular paper. It doesn't matter. I just didn't have any regular paper, so I printed it on cardstock. But you could put it on regular paper. These right here, this crystal clear premium protective closure bag, these are awesome. And let me give you all the link too. And the reason these are great is because they are food safe. So if you look right here, it says down here, recycle code, closure type, food safe. Yes. And I like that because a lot of plastic things that people use are not food safe. So that is an awesome thing. For some reason, it will not let me add that, but I'll add it at the end. But let me show you how you would use these. Let's close this. They come like this. You slide your Royal Icing transfer sheet down in it like this. And then you can just ice right on top of this. You can actually clean it and use it again, but it's great. The disadvantage of using these is they don't dry as fast. It'll take your icing transfers probably at least double the amount of dry time, if not more, than these. But you can make a lot more of these at once if you're not in a hurry. That is a great thing. Let me see if I can add that again, that link for you all, because that really is a handy thing to have. Okay, let me look at my cheat sheet to tell you all what I need else to talk about. Wax paper. Do not use wax paper. They will never dry. It's too thick. And so I never use that. Now, talking about drying, there are a couple different ways you can dry your transfers. One is you can put them in a dehydrator. I have a dehydrator. That's always what I do. You want to put it on about 110 degrees. You might think, oh, I'm going to just dry the heck out, baby, and put it on 120 or 130. And that's not good because it will actually disintegrate your royal icing transfers. So the highest to ever go is 110 degrees. Also, if you use a dehydrator, mine has a fan on the back. So this is the front. This is the fan on the back. If I put my transfer sheet in the center, it flops all around because, it's not very big. So I always put my transfers on the bottom or on the top, and then they don't fly around. Another little tip that I heard someone say is you could put your dehydrator, you can put your tray like halfway in, don't put it in all the way. I've never tried that. I can see how that would work. I just always put mine on the top or the bottom and it's fine. Or you could put some little magnets or something, heavy on the edge. But if you put it on the top or the bottom, you don't have to worry about that. Excuse me. I had COVID last week. I thought I was completely better, but my throat isn't apparently wanting to cooperate, but I haven't been talking that much. You can also put it in your oven with the light on, excuse me, and it helps it dry overnight if you have your light on, but just don't turn on your oven, without remembering that they're in there. If I make the transfers on this, I can make them in the morning, put them in my dehydrator for a couple hours, and they're good. I can do them overnight, and the next morning, they'll be fine. I never use the oven on ever. If I put them in the oven, I just have the oven light on. I would not put them in the oven and turn the oven on. I just like to store it. If before I had the dehydrator, I would always store them in the oven with the light on, just so nothing, they would be safe. Because I cook dinner in the same kitchen that I bake cookies. So that would help me just kind of get them out of the way and make sure that nothing happened to them. If you use these at night, and then by the next morning, they're completely fine. If you do it on plastic, it usually takes at least 48 hours to dry. Your oven has a dehydrator. Oh, that's fancy. I've never heard of that. That's awesome. Let's see. So if you are doing them on plastic, either these sheets, or you could even use the little cellophane bags that you package your cookies in. You could make royal icing transfers on top of that. But again, it's going to take a lot longer to dry than it would on these little parchment squares. One thing is, do not saturate your colors. If you have let's say you're making bats for Halloween and you're using black and they won't dry, it's probably because you have too much color in there. And it's such a small thing. It's easy to oversaturate your dark colors. So I always make those colors ahead of time. And plus they dry darker. So instead of completely black, I might make dark gray. And when it dries, it'll be, really, really dark. Let's see. Your transfers will come off very easily. If you do them on these sheets, they'll just slide right off when they're dry. If they don't slide right off, it means they're not completely dry. On one of these sheets, they don't slide right off. So how do you know when they're dry? You can use a butter knife and go underneath the transfer. And if it's dry, it'll pop right off. Always make extra transfers, always, because they're teeny and they will break. And you always, always, always want to make extras. Let's see, what else was I going to tell you? Oh, you can either use transfers on cookies that are completely dry. So for instance, this one was completely dry because I did this with a stencil. And then I just put a little bit of icing underneath that and stuck them on there. You can also add them to your cookie while it's still wet. And what I like to do is, if I'm going to do that, I will use a little set of tweezers. Excuse me, I was going to see if I had some up here, but they're cookie tweezers. I don't use them for anything else. And I'll put it on, and then you can actually move it around just a little bit with your scribe. But the difference is, if you put them on cookies that are dry, see how it's not completely flat? It's hard to get them completely flat because usually your cookie actually has a little bit of a curve, most of the time from the center to the edge. It doesn't matter if they're not flat. No one's gonna pick your cookie up and go, "Those letters aren't completely flat, so I'm not gonna eat that cookie." But, you can, if you put these on a wet cookie, it'll sink down and then it will be completely flat. Kathleen, I put my transfer sheets in sheet protectors and I placed parchment paper over that. That is the best idea, and you keep the sheet protectors in a binder. You know what? That is brilliant. I am not that organized, so I print them off every time I need a new one. I need to do that. That is, look, I'm gonna put this up here because that is the best idea ever. Put your transfer sheets in the sheet protectors and place parchment over that. That is the best idea ever. Thank you for that. So I think that that's all I have for you guys. These cookies that I've shown you are part of, this is when I'm not sick and I have like makeup on and cute clothes. That's not today. But this is the set from our newest cheerful box. It's so crazy because the reason that I did this set is because I just recently got chickens, and I cannot describe to you how much I love it, how much fun it is. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have a barn set? And this is the most popular set I've ever done, which is so fun. I think people love animals. But right now we only have, I think, 20 after this morning, like maybe 22 boxes left, which is just bonkers and super exciting. I clipped my, let me put the link in there in case you all are interested in checking that out before it sells out. I clipped my parchment sheets to the sheet protector so it doesn't move. Yes, great idea. A lot of people use the little clips. That is a very good idea. Can we get a sneak peek of next month's set? Hold on, let me take this off. I wish I could give you that, but I cannot because, like I've said, I don't know, too many times tonight. I was really sick last week, so I got the bare minimum done. And excuse me, I don't have them finished to be able to show you, but it is. You all, I'm sorry. I'm better. I really am. My throat is just not back to talking this much yet. Excuse me. Next month's box is so cute. It's Halloween. I love Halloween, but I like happy, fun Halloween. I don't like scary Halloween. So this one is pink, so cute. Ghost with flowers. I teach you all how to do a little drop flower that's like a royal icing transfer. You can make a ton of them and save them. One of the ghosts has a flowered headband. So cute. I can't wait to show you, but I have to finish them yet. Maybe I can do that tomorrow. Let's see. Thank you, Charlotte. I really am 99% better. I just don't sound it. Let's see. Thank you so much for all the helpful advice. Just starting to decorate cookies. You're an inspiration. Prayers to you. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you so much. I'm never sick. I mean, never. I cannot tell you the last time that I was sick. But my neighbors are my best friends and they have grandchildren now, so they get sick more often. And because it's summer, we're together all the time. And so they got sick first and then I got it second. Hope you feel better soon. Thank you. I really do feel good. I just don't sound very good. Do you all have any questions about oh, I need to say if you are a new subscriber, welcome. We have welcomed 100 new subscribers in the past like 2.5 weeks. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I I'm just so excited about that. I just think this box is fun, and there are fun things to come. I mean, like I said, next month, and then the next month is the cutest Thanksgiving set. I think y'all are gonna love it. And then the next month, of course, is gonna be Christmas. So, what other you all have any more questions about royal icing transfers? Oh, let me tell you one more thing. You know, one thing about letters, and I don't know if you can see this, but we like the puff, right? We like puffy letters. And whenever I do royal icing transfers, 99% of the time, and I don't want to say 100% because, I could have a video out there that I didn't do this with. Excuse me. I always use piping icing and flooding icing, not one consistency of icing. Because if you use piping icing around the edge and then you use flooding icing, flooding icing in the center, it will be puffier. You also want to use icing that's slightly thicker than your regular flood because it's so small. And sometimes you can have cratering if your icing's too thick. So that just helps you to create puffier royal icing transfers. Let's see, I will share with you, James. You all, I'm sorry. I would not want to get online and listen to somebody cough. I really didn't know that this was going to happen. Let me show you all. Hold on just one second. James, since you asked that question, here is a subscription, and we have 4 different options. The one that I've been talking about, the cheerful box, it is $49.97, and that includes shipping. And it says it disappears in 9 days, but it'll probably disappear sooner because we don't have that many left. You can get the cheerful box mini, which is just an assortment of the same cutters, but in mini size because everybody loves minis. And then there are a couple other options that you can check out if you have a 3D printer. But that is the link that I put just a minute ago. So, any other questions before I go take a cough drop? So, you all want me to do a deep dive on stenciling? I can definitely do that. I'll do that once my throat is completely better. Maybe we'll do that for next week. You're welcome, James. Any other questions about anything? Can't wait to do the minis. Minis are just cute, aren't they? They're so fun. Now, I want to share with you all this one last thing because this is really fun. I am in this amazing group called the Supper Club. Airbrushing. Okay. And the Supper Club is a group of not just business owners, but people who love entertaining and, of course, cookies, people who have fancy parties most always have fancy cookies, right? So I'm in this group and we put out this, well, the person who's in charge of the group, Lydia Menzies, put out incredible an incredible book called The Supper Club, which is amazing. And we are now putting out our own magazine, which is going to um, be put out by Hoffman Media. And if you subscribe to Southern Lady, then you will also get this magazine. I can't remember when the first one's going to come out, maybe next year. But we're getting ready to do a photo shoot, a farm themed photo shoot, which is going to be so much fun. So, for instance, this cow is going to be on a stick and it's going to be in a little silver bucket, probably with jelly beans on the top on the dessert table, which is going to be so much fun. Um, but the little minis we're going to do on top of cupcakes, which are so incredibly cute. So, you all will have to check that out. If you want to check it out, go to Lydia Menzies Supper Club, and you can check that out. Thank you. Let's see. Are you on the same night for all your lives? You know, I wish I was that organized. No, I'm not, because I probably will be in the future, but my kids have been home for the summer, and so I just don't know day by day what I'm doing. But you can follow me on my Cheerful Baker Facebook page, and I'll also always post it on there several days before, and it's always recorded if you can't miss it. Thank you. This is my first box of yours. I just love this set. My husband farms. We don't have animals, but I just love things all farm related. What do y'all farm? My husband farms sugarcane and soybeans. We have rabbits, chickens, and pigs. You all, I live in a neighborhood. I do not live on a farm, but I live in the county. And if I could have, I mean, my chickens are my pets. I don't sell eggs or anything like that. They just wander around my backyard, and I love them so much. But I think maybe someday I need to live on a farm, because I love every type of animal that you could ever possibly have. Oh, what should you price minis at? That is a really good question. It depends on how long you've been making cookies, what your skill level is, and what people in your area are charging. You know, I charge a lot for decorated cookies. I mean, mine start at $85 a dozen for regular cookies. And I don't ever sell cookies anymore, quite honestly. I mean, a little bit. But what I would do is I would look at the people in your area and what they're charging for minis. I mean, minis are still work. So I would not go less than, $2.50, $3 per cookie, honestly. But I would just check in your area and see what people are charging, and always charge more than you think you should, because your customer is definitely out there. Thank you. Thank you for saying that this is great, great live. Me coughing through the whole thing. So I guess that's all for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining me. And the next live, let's see, what did you all want to do? Airbrushing? Is that right? Yeah, we can definitely talk about airbrushing. Without a doubt. In fact, I'll see if my friend Fresia will join me, because she's like the queen of airbrushing. So let's make sure there's no more questions. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go get a cough drop. You all have a wonderful night, and go make someone's day, right? That's what we're put on this earth to do, is to spread joy. So go and do it. Talk to you later.